We got logs on the deck. We're gonna run a bunch of stuff today. Adam's here, tractor's back, so we're gonna do some work. It's time. Maybe this one. Oh, the second one. Yeah. Move my truck. You don't think I can just bounce it over your truck? No. This is one of those, just because you can doesn't mean you should. No. Gotta come this way a little better. No, you're good. You're good. You got about, you got a few inches. That way? Oh, you're good. It was Bert's idea. He's bringing it next week. Oh yeah? Is it losing power?
Yeah.
I thought I had him charged.
Yeah, there's 3. No.
Piece of crap.
Yeah, just like that.
And the batteries are charged, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Too cold, maybe? Yeah, he wants
run
to,
the 60-footer through there.
He's just...
Right?
Yeah, I want to get the log. I want to get the log. You might have to push that end up.
There we got it. Just like a little kid. Let me play with the toy. Oh yeah? Chain's real loose and it needs to be sharpened, so we're going to sharpen it. Yeah, it needs sharpening. We're going to tighten her up. So I'm going to attempt to do a voiceover. I've got a bad chest cold. I've had it now for a couple weeks, and if I sound like Barry White, well, yeah, I kind of do. So anyway, we're running some wood here. Now this is a lot of tree service stuff that we cut last summer. So these are all yard trees. Most of this is ash. There's also some honey locust in here, but it's all pretty big stuff. We've got pieces in here, there are some logs in here that are 24, 25 inches. You'll see coming up that we have a very hard time just getting through, and we actually had to use the chainsaw because the bar on the 22MB would not cut all the way through. It was that big of stuff. So basically we're just running away here. For those of you that don't know, this is the Eastonmade 22MB. Oh, there's one that didn't go all the way through. Sometimes you give it a little, there you go. Sometimes you just run the deck through a little bit there on the trough and the infeed, and you can get it to break loose. So it's a 22MB Eastonmade firewood processor. It's got 40 tons on the ram, I believe. I can cut up to a 22-inch piece. It's got a 115 horse Kubota engine. It's a manual, everything. So everything that's happening, I'm making happen. There are 9 levers, I believe, and I think 5 of them do 4 things, and then the other ones each do 2 things. So there's a lot going on up there, and if it looks like I'm slow, it's because I haven't run this thing in a long time. We haven't been too active with the processor in quite a while. So yeah, we're just moving through the wood here, dropping stuff in, putting it through the ram, and there's a lot of stuff that's crotches, so a lot of explosions like that. You could see how that thing, whole machine flexed. And when you're running these big logs like this, because we cut these two, I think, what we cut these two, 12 feet, if I remember right, 11 feet, something like that, so that we could get them where we weren't cutting hardly any cookies off at all. But we did cut some junk out of it, if there's some crotches and things like that. This piece right here is a beautiful one. Nice and straight, running good. We got the 8-way wedge in. The wedge is adjustable up and down. We find that we try to pick out pieces that are somewhat similar, and you kind of just leave it. You can just keep running. So yeah, you run the infeed towards you, and then you flip that lever to the side, and then the bar comes down. The clamp comes down. The bar comes down. It cuts it. You flick that lever back, then it drops down into your trough, and then you put the ram forward, push the ram back out, bring another piece in. So it's very repetitive. Really, you're only using 3 levers primarily, almost all the time. And then once in a while you use a lever for a roller, or if you're going to do the eject door or something like that. But for the most part, it's those main levers. Oh, and then you've got the tip tray right there. I just used the tip tray. When you get to the end, you'll tip it up and hold the log in place so it doesn't drop down into the trough. I think here I'm just going to cut a cookie off, if I remember right. I think it disappears. Sometimes they just drop straight down through the machine. Didn't even go out the door. And so yeah, we got the elevator running. It's going up into the trailer behind me. I'm just saying about how heavy the pieces are. You run those in there fast, the whole machine moves. There's a lot of violence going on there. A lot of people that have never run one of these before, when they do for the first time, people that have visited me, you can tell their eyes are like huge, because there's a lot going on there. There's a lot to watch. There's a lot to do, a lot to be responsible for. You're watching your logs. You're watching the infeed. You're watching to make sure you're not jamming up on your elevator. You're not making sure your trailer or whatever you're putting the wood into is not overflowing. There's just a lot going on there. You're watching the guys loading the deck. You're watching pieces when they kick out, because they can shoot out on you if you get some things there. See how Adam put his hands up? That's what we always do when we're coming. We put our hands up in the air, like, see my hands? And we always make eye contact to make sure that the other guy knows that you're coming in. And sometimes when I'm running the levers too, if they're going to go in and fix something here, I'm cutting a chunk off that's a bad one. Just kick it out. What you do is you put your hands up, and that's our signal. We're working on possibly getting headphones so we can do communications while we're working on stuff. Probably be a smart move on our part. It's about $400 per person to get them. We're looking at a couple different companies. If anybody knows anybody that they would suggest, I'm open to ideas. A lot of the tree service people will have headsets that they'll wear so they can communicate. But yeah, these big boys like here coming in, you can see it hit a knot right away there. Sorry about that. I might cough a lot more. My voice is just shot. My lungs are just burning. Here I'm going to cut another chunk off. You can see right here. You can see that piece sticking up there. So you try just to get as much good stuff as you can and get rid of the garbage. And all that stuff will go into Bert's boiler. Matter of fact, today, the day after we shot this video, Adam and I went and we split all those chunks up and put them in. Here a piece, I didn't have the tip tray up. I thought I could sneak it through, and because I haven't run in a while, and the piece was front heavy, so I turned it around here. And I'm going to run the trough back of the infeed right there. You can see it going up. We just shoved it in there, and then I'll tip the tray back up if I can, which I barely can because there's a log jam in there. Basically, is what happens. And a lot of people will tell me, "Oh, you should clean all that out." Well, we do that sometimes. We'll clean it out. You raise up the wedge, clean everything out, get it like here. I think we're cleaning some stuff out, and you don't have to do that. But it just is better because what ends up happening is a piece will twist on you, turn sideways, and you literally are just shearing it in half, or you're cutting chunks off because it's going sideways. But this is not ideal wood. This is some nasty crap. Like I said, it's all yard trees that we cut up from tree service, so there's a lot of garbage in here. And these are probably some of the better looking pieces. Here I'm going to cut an end off because we had the big cut on the bottom there where he cut his wedge for when he was dropping the tree, and we just get rid of that stuff. It's not really worth trying to get pieces out of it. We'll just make boiler wood out of that. So yeah, you just kind of cut it off. But that's a big piece. I think this one might barely go through here. Let's just see the tip of the saw. Oh yeah, we got plenty of room there. So that's probably about a 20-inch piece. That round there. We got some other bigger ones coming up that the bar did not go through all the way. We had to actually get the chainsaw. You'll see that. And if you see steam coming off every once in a while, that's because the inside of the wood is very cold yet, but the air temperature is, I don't know, 30, 33, 34, something like that. And so when you run the bar, cutting it down through the wood, or if you're pushing it through the wedge, a lot of times you'll have some steam. There's one that's not going all the way through. You can see it. So Bert's going to come in here, and we're going to use a chainsaw. You got to be really careful because a lot of times the bar will get stuck. There you go. I got it out. So what you do is you wiggle your trough, your infeed trough, back and forth, and you can get the bar to pop out sometimes. That seems to be what works really good. There's big pieces you can see here because we're running such big ones. If we get time, a lot of times we'll pull them out and we'll throw them back in and split them again. So I'm letting them know I'm just going to ram a piece here. So we try to make sure before we do anything stupid, we're watching the other guys. Like, this is not a smart thing to do here, but we had to do it to get the piece to cut down. So we've tried to use the little electric saw a couple times, and no, it just doesn't work. You got to have a real saw for the most part. Whenever we need it, the batteries are either dead or it's too cold and it won't run. I don't know. I'm just not, the battery things just don't excite me at all. I've tried them, they're okay. See, here's one that didn't go all the way through, and I got my bar caught inside the log here, so I'm trying to wiggle it back and forth. And then Bert came in here and he's gonna trim. I'm trying to get the bar to come out by just jiggling it back and forth, and I couldn't get it to go. So he's gonna cut just a little tiny bit, and he knows the bar's inside of there. You really don't want the two chainsaw tips to meet. That's not a good thing when they're running. So he's just, there you go, look at that. Good thing he's a machinist. He knows how to do little micro cuts. So yeah, there's a lot going on here with ramming these pieces through like we're doing. And I can't remember what he was telling me. Oh, he says before the bar gets all the way through, he says pull it up and then he'll cut it the rest of the way. But that was just stupid. We really shouldn't have ran this big of stuff, like this big hog that's coming through. I think I cut one more, maybe two, and then we just ejected it out the back. It's just too big. You can't move them. You can't turn them. There's some chunks sticking out where there's some branches that were growing out, where there's crotches. You just can't do anything with them. This should not have been up on the machine. But you know us, boys and toys. Well, let's see what she'll do. So we just figured, let's give it a try. These were the biggest ones from this job that we had too. So that Bert's just gonna. I'm trying to get it to loose because I could see the bar was coming up like an inch at a time. It was kind of wiggling its way up. You can't see it from where you are, but I could see the bar starting to loosen itself up. But it's getting pinched. So I just let him know that I got it now. So he's gonna go in and just kind of zip some of the top edges off there and get it to fall down. Hopefully here. I think if I remember right, he got it. Then Adam's loading the live deck with more logs. And the logs that are to the left of me are the ones that he's getting. That's the pile of stuff that we cut last summer. So now I think I should be able to get it to go now. I think, yeah, he got it through enough now that if I just get it up in there and I turned it a little bit by ramming it back and forth, I should be able to bring the bar down and cut through the rest of the way now. There we go. All right. Just got to do some more ramming here. Ram jamming. So the size of those pieces, there's going to be a lot of resplits. There's just a lot of big ones. Now, if I was selling boiler wood, I'd be done. That would be all you need to do. But like I've said 1,000 times, I do not sell to boiler people. I have a couple. I have a few people, half a dozen that heat with wood, and they don't even want big pieces. They want manageable pieces that they can handle and fit in their stove. They're running that big chunk of crap out of there. So I got it down to the end, and then Adam's going to come over here and grab it with the grapple. Again, that's another thing you can't do with forks. You can't grab chunks of wood like you can with the grapple, like we're going to do here. So then while I'm waiting, I'm pulling pieces out, throwing them back in, and just re-ramming them through. A lot of guys were suggesting, why don't you guys just have someone standing there, pull all the big ones out, that need to be split again, throw them back in again, and ram them through. You don't realize when you're down on the ground to reach up in there and pull them out, you're reaching at like shoulder level. It's just hard. There's no really good way to get at them there. You kind of threw that chunk out of there. There's really no easy way to get out of there. And then once in a while, we'll try to clear it out like I did there. You can see it's pretty clear on the bottom now, so now I got to drop the wedge down here somehow. Can't remember if I dropped it before or after I cut this piece. No, I must have already dropped it down part of the way because it's a big chunk. So we generally don't move the wedge more than about 4 or 5 inches from center. Real little ones, you got it all the way down. Real big ones, you got it up about 4 inches is about all. You can see it's somewhat centered there. And you can get it centered most of the time if you're trying. But what, like I said, works really good is you just try to run the same size stuff all the time. It could have went up a little bit, it looks like, right there on this piece. So there, I'm just kind of watching everything around me so I know what's going on. It's a very stressful place to be because there's a lot of violence going on up there, and you're responsible for kind of everything while you're sitting there. You're watching the bar speed. You're watching how it's oiling, if it's oiling enough, because that's all manual. You're making sure the logs come in right. You don't want to drop 2 logs at a time into the trough. You want only 1, because if they're small ones and you get 2 in there, or you got 1 big and 1 small one, then you got to fight it somehow to get them out, because you cannot cut 2 at a time. We've tried. What happens is the bar will go through the bigger one, and then it'll catch on the small one, and then the big one will start tumbling, and it can fly all over the place. Because there's really no movement to the bar. It's all it is up and down, up and down. So it can really cause problems if you don't do it right. Ideally, people ask us, what's the ideal wood? Perfectly straight wood. And 8 inches at the smallest, probably no bigger than 16. Ideal wood would be like 12-inch wood, about 12 inch, maybe 14. That'd be ideal if you could get that all the time, because you could just fly. You wouldn't have to change anything, you wouldn't have to adjust anything. Like my brother Ken always says, processors like pretty wood, and he's absolutely right. Processors do not like nasty crap, and that's what a lot of this is. I mean, I've seen worse wood than this. I've seen snakes. You see a lot of knotty stuff. But a lot of this did have limbs, and a lot of it was, just odd shaped and not great wood. Anything that grows in someone's yard is not going to be a pretty tree as far as straightness, not have a lot of knots, branches, crotches, stuff like that. What you want is trees that come from woods where there's a lot of competition, same age group of trees, because what happens is they grow perfectly straight, perfectly tall, nice and even, and they all shooting towards the sky. They're not trying to shoot out at all with branches. Here, this chunk right here, I remember this. Look at all the machines rocking. The whole machine is just a rocking. it got caught in the back there, and I could not get the branch where there was a knot crotch to come loose there. It's catching on the back, but oh, and this is locust on top of it. I can see that. So this is a heavy log. So those of you that don't know, this is honey locust. Honey locust is absolutely awesome firewood. Better than oak, better than hickory. It's just fantastic stuff. But very heavy, very, very heavy. Great wood. I had a couple loads I gave to my dad when he was still burning, and he had never had more than like a piece or two here and there. And I gave him 2 trailer loads full. And the first one I gave him, he was like, well, what is this? I said, well, it's black locust. And he said, well, I've never burned much of that. I said, you're going to like it. And he absolutely loved it. He said, bring me another one. He said, that was the best wood I've ever had in my whole life. I've been burning wood for 50 years. That was the best. I said, I told you it was good stuff. Because it burns slow, doesn't have a lot of flame, burns real hot, burns real long. It's just great wood. It is awesome wood. But the thing is it's not readily available everywhere. It's messy wood to process. The bark comes off very easily. But the honey locust is more of a yard tree. It's got real small leaves. But it's absolutely excellent firewood. So if I could buy a lot of it, I would. It'd be nice if you could get it straight too. The bad thing with honey locust is it grows like a yard tree, just branches everywhere. This one wasn't too bad a one because it was in a lady's yard that we cut last year, and she had other trees around it. So we had a good, I don't know, probably a good 15, 16 feet of a real nice tree, and then the branches started. So here I'm just pulling chunks out, resplitting them. You certainly don't have to do that. We just do it because we can. It saves a step later on, just kind of run it through the ram again. And it's nice to get out of the chair every once in a while. Sometimes when you try to put those pieces in, they just kind of get kicked back. They don't want to come through. But by putting those small ones through like that, it's a nice way to clean your wedge out too. So here's the honey locust getting cut. We did sharpen the chain before we started. It really needed it. We can cut pretty decent with a dull chain because there is a lot of power there. But it's better to have it sharp. So just kind of ramming the pieces through. I think this was the only piece of honey locust we had, if I remember right. It's too bad we can't get more of it because, like I said, I do like it. I think it dries faster than oak too. That's the other thing that I've learned is that, of course, oak dries super slow, and the locust dries pretty fast, and it puts out more heat, more BTU per piece. So I'm just kind of restacking the pieces. You can see the elevators to the left. You can see the pieces going up. We try to run it fairly steady so the pieces just keep going because you really don't want a log jam down there. If you run it too slow, they can kind of get caught up. And I'm just kind of redoing pieces, pulling them back through because I can. Not that they have to be. If you were doing production, you wouldn't be doing that. You'd be just ramming them through. Just get them through, get them through. And there's so much pressure with that ram, you just would push all the debris through, all the cross, any piece that would get in there sideways, you would just ram it through. And like I said, this is not perfect wood by any means. So I got to raise the ram, clear it out because I got pieces getting caught. So I see that one in the front there that's sideways. So then all I got to do is take a splitting maul we keep handy there, and I'll pound that out if it's rammed in there too tight. Or sometimes I'll take a piece and I'll just whack it. But it's nice just to clean it out every once in a while. Everything seems to work better when it's clean. Yeah, there it came right out. But sometimes they'll get on sideways like that and they will not move. So this great big ugly chunk here, I could have tried to turn it around and get a piece out of it because there's a long enough piece there I could have, but it's not worth fighting. So we just cut it off, kick it out, and we'll take care of it later. Like I said, it's not worth fighting the crotches. If we would have known we were going to run all these through the machine, I think we probably would have did a better job of cleaning them up. We probably would have straightened things out a little bit better because if you cut all your crotches out, it makes it a lot easier. Here's a piece that had a big knot on it. I couldn't get in the trough there. It finally fell in. Look at how the machine shakes. There's a lot of weight there. But yeah, I was kind of caught up because sometimes you get those crotches and they won't go because they catch on the in-feed table there up on top. When you want to roll them out. So you got to quick look around once in a while and make sure no one's dying behind you. There, I got the, this is what happened. Yes, I remember now. That crotch got caught right there. It's in the front. There's another one in the back, and I could not get this thing to move. So I had to call some reinforcements over here. I think I had to call Adam over. He brought the chainsaw on. He's got all the safety gear on. Adam's usually the one that he always wears his chainsaw pants. He wears his steel toe boots. He wears his ear protection. He wears his eye protection. And I think he's able to go up there and kind of cut it off. So I think he gets caught right here, if I remember right from what happened. See, I'm trying to ram it with the other pieces. What happens is the infeed, it won't even catch because it's caught in the V of the trough because there's a big knot. And of course that thing weighs over 1,000 pounds. Not much I could do about it. So I think Adam's going to come up here and save the day. I think he climbs right up inside of there. We were going to try rolling it, and I told him, no, you got to go cut. So he had to go crawl up inside and cut up in the trough the crotch piece that was sticking out. So he's starting up the chainsaw now, and he's going to crawl up there and rescue my problem that I have. So yeah, in the meantime, just kind of clean stuff out, do a little housekeeping stuff. But so yeah, we just climb right up on top of there, and we try to always keep a chainsaw handy. And we found that, we thought, oh, we'll just use, a little saw, electric saw, or we'll use a little small saw we can just keep handy. We found it's better just to keep a real saw there. So this is my 572 XPG. We just keep a big saw. Because if you're cutting crotches, you want a big saw. You don't want something you're going to be up there grinding on for an hour. You want to cut through it and be done. But where he's cutting within an inch of the trough there, so he's got to be real careful. And then, of course, it pinched on him. You can't see it, but I'm watching, and it's like, oh, man, don't hit. I think I got a brand new chain on there. I'm thinking, don't hit the chain on the metal. Don't hit the trough there. I think he's got it loose, and you can see it moved. So now when I start bringing it out, it'll be all good. So I know if OSHA's watching, they're all having a bird right now. He's up on the machine while it's running because we didn't shut it down. It's just idling, and I'm just sitting there waiting for him. But whenever we do something like this, we always make sure the other guys know that what we're doing. We know it's something where it's not safe, so we make sure we keep our hands away from the controls and wait till he's all good, and then we give each other the thumbs up that we're good to go again. And so here I ram this. Now let's see if I can get this piece to move here, because I think, yeah, there we go. He got it caught. Finally got it to loosen up there. So it should come. You'll see the notch that he cut out here in just a little bit. So there's the big chunks going. So yeah, we're just throwing some pieces back in there just to resplit them because we can. Like I said, normally you would just ram them through and just keep going, not even slow down. But we're not in any big hurry on a lot of these days. We're here working. We're just there having fun, playing with the toys. Throwing another one in. And you can see how hard that was for him to lift up and get in there, and then it just turns to pieces because it's all crotchety. So that's just not real pretty wood. Okay, let's see if that knot, we can get that out of it. I think it's right here somewhere. I think that I cut it and I can see it. I think it just fell right there. Bar speed's pretty darn nice. It's not too fast, not too slow. There, now if you look right behind the plunger, you can see the chunk of wood there falling there. I reached in there and grabbed it out of there. Because you don't want to have the saw hit that, because it's a loose piece. If the saw hits that loose piece, not being held by the clamp, you're going to have a big wood bullet flying somewhere. Not safe. So you try not to have branches. You try not to have crotch pieces. Like say you've got a piece that's got a split in it, and you cut it. Well, one of the pieces is going to be held by the clamp up on top, and the other one's going to be loose. And what happens is they tumble, and they can fly anywhere. When that bar's going, there's no stopping it. It's just going. It's not like a chainsaw where you can let up on the throttle. It's just going to go. So you just got to be careful with it, because it's like I said, there's a lot of violence going on there. I know I had Tony ran the processor when I first got it. Logger L ran it. Mike from K&L Firewood ran it. Oh, there, I got a disc falling in there. Bert came and ran it, obviously, because that's how I met him. Adam came. Let's see, who else did I have? Anne-Marie came and ran it. And I tell you, everybody the first time they run it, their eyes just get huge, and you can tell they're like, oh my gosh, because it's not what you think. It's not like just a day at the park. It's like being in a semi on a racetrack going as fast as you can, because it's just a big, huge, noisy, loud, violent piece of machinery. But it is a lot of fun. And it can produce a lot of wood really fast. Yeah, all these kicking back ones, you see the ones that went back there, they're always ones that have crotch piece sticking out that we should have trimmed off. If we would have trimmed those off, we wouldn't have had problems. So what happens is, as they're going through, they're getting caught on some of the outside edges, and those are the ones that cause problems, which is why if you're buying wood, you want to get it from a logger that's going to have the pieces trimmed well. This next one coming here is a nasty one. That one's fine, but the next piece, look at that up there. It's like, I look at it, like, ugh. So it's cutting behind. Let's see how it goes through. It's probably going to explode. You got to try to find the ram in the right spot. They just kind of mushed out is what happened. So you want the nice ones like that one right there. Just a nice piece. I think I'm dropping a couple here. Once you get the pieces down below, I think it's like 5 or 6 inches. A lot of times we'll drop 2 at a time. And if they get down to like, 5 to 3 inches, we'll drop a whole bunch of them in there and then ram them. There's a crotchy one right there going in. That might be an issue. Sometimes they want to, like that. See how it exploded? You get pieces flying all over the place, and the crotch itself will explode. It's just, that's a crap. That's what it is. There, see how it shot out there on the side? It's just not good stuff. The other thing that's not great either is this wood has been sitting for months. So it's very dry because a lot of it's ash. So when it does split, ooh, I should have had my tip tray up. I thought I could catch it quick there, but so that's one of the reasons why you can see I haven't run it in a while. I should have had my tip tray up to catch it there. Sometimes you think you can run it in and catch it quick, but I'm out of practice, I guess. And once you run for a few hours, 3 days in a row, all of a sudden you're just flying. You can get much quicker. But we weren't trying to set any speed records here. But yeah, if you get nice straight wood, you can go a lot faster. You can be a lot more productive, which is why guys that make firewood, they try to buy the good stuff. They buy bolts if they can at a decent price. Or they try to get wood that's all consistent. Or the really big guys, they cut all their own wood. And they specifically take out the wood that is the stuff they want to process. They take out, obviously, the stuff they want for lumber. They take out all the junk wood, and then they sell them to guys like me, or guys that cut by hand that it doesn't matter. So anyway, let's got one more piece. Oh, the other thing went sideways there. That's what happens when you get those little squirrels. They just go all over the place. There's a big toad coming here. I think we're talking that this is the last one, if I remember right. Because, oh yeah, that's a big one. You can tell how it's just shaking the whole machine there when you move it. Look at the machine rock. I'm trying to straighten it out because it was not getting straight. I think this is one we ended up having to cut. I think this one actually got jammed, and I had to go up there and try to free the bar. And I had my hand in a bad place, and we turned the machine off and everything, but the bar popped out and there was so much pressure on it, it almost ripped my glove off. Yeah, this is just not a good piece of wood. I mean, it's a good piece of wood, but we're trying to decide what we're going to do with it here. We should take it out and trim off a crotch, or because it keeps wanting to cant on me to the outside. And what happens is the bar won't even come close to going through. So we're discussing if we should run it through and then just cut it with the saw. And Adam says, yep, just go ahead and cut it. Whatever you can't get, I'll get with the chainsaw. You can see it's not even close. So this is like a 25-inch piece. Yeah, and then the bar gets stuck besides, doesn't want to go. There you go, I got it to come out on that one. So now I'm going to wait for him to come in and cut it. And our trailer's getting really full too, so we're, oh yeah, and I tipped the tray down. So I put my hands up so he knows that my hands are off the controls. And I think, if I remember right, he's cutting in here. When he cut it, it kicked back, and I think it hit his thumb right there. Yep, and he smashed his thumb, and he's got a black thumb now, so on the nail. So, and that's the same thumb that he broke last year. So that thumb, he probably should just get amputated because he keeps hitting it and everything. And he said it hurts all the time. But he keeps coming back, so I don't know. It's a glutton for punishment, I guess. I guess he likes cutting wood a lot, which is awesome. Oh, I suppose I should give you guys an update with his daughter with the cookies. I haven't mentioned that. So that was about a week ago we did the cookie video. And her goal was 650 or 625 boxes, I think is what she wanted to do. Just online, she's sold like 800 so far. And she sold another couple hundred knocking on doors and stuff. So she's already over 1,000 boxes. And her whole troop has only done 1,000 in the past. So she's already got as much sold as everybody else in the troop, which is awesome. So thanks to all of you for buying the cookies. If you need more, you can always order more. And you can go right to that same link. And I think, if I remember correctly, it is good until the end of March. So you got all of February yet and all of March. So I'm assuming you're going to get your cookies fairly soon. And when you get them and you eat them all, order more. There you go. Okay, so back to it. I'm trying to figure out what the heck to do with that big monster. Look at that big ugly bugger. And he just wants to peel apart there. Yeah, it's just nasty. Because it's really too big for the machine. I mean, the machine can do it, but you can't do a good job of it because it's nasty. It's way too big of a piece to run through the machine. But we're doing it anyway because we can. So, yeah, we're just fighting away here with it. Yeah, and sometimes I find if I grab the pieces like this right here, the bigger ones, throw them up in there, you get pretty good at just chucking them over the top and then grab another one, chuck it over. Just kind of keep re-splitting them like this. And you can clear out your wedge pretty good that way too, because you're pushing all the big stuck ones in there sometimes. I like to grab them, and sometimes we'll put in 4 or 5 of them up in the ram there and push out all the garbage that's caught, which seems to work pretty good. And like I said before, don't need to do that. You could just run another piece and it would push through, but we can do it. I think this one cuts all the way through. Yeah, we got the nasty one done. That's a big piece of wood though. Look at that thing. Jeez, look at the size of those. And that's boiler wood coming out there. You can't do nothing with it, so we just ram another one through. You can see by how slow it's cutting. That's a big piece of wood. Look at that. That's a lot of violence going on here. So then we try to catch them quick before they go up the elevator. You gotta be careful not to smash your hands while they're bouncing around there. Watch out! And I should have gloves on, but when I operate the levers, I do not like to wear gloves. I like to have my hands bare because I can feel the lever so much better. Because you're working 4 or 5 different levers, and with gloves on, you lose the feeling for where they are. Even with a thin pair of gloves, I just like being barehanded, which is why we're thinking of hooking up a heater on the cutting station right there. So when you're in there, in the operator station, we're thinking about having a heater. And I got a little diesel heater from a company I haven't even shown you guys yet. I have to do a video on it. It's a diesel heater, and it's supposed to run like 30 hours on a gallon or something like that. And it puts out a lot of heat, so we're kind of excited about it. You got to run it off a battery, so we're thinking about building it right into the station there, so it can be blowing on the operator in the cold weather, and we can have some heat. And it's a movable little heater too, so we can take it and use it in other areas, like if we're doing splitting someday with the Ultra, and it's a super cold day, we could have it set up so that it's blowing kind of towards us, and we can warm our hands up, dry our gloves off, that kind of thing. So it's kind of a neat little heater. We'll have to show you guys that real soon. I've got it. I've had it for a while now. I just haven't had time to do a video, but I'm going to do it. Maybe tomorrow I'll do that. So here we got everything cleaned out. We're just kind of finishing these big bad boys off here. I think we're just about done with this load. Oh, that's a big chunk of wood. Look at those. Yeah, we cleaned it out, so taking another cut. Yeah, and you try to roll them to get them level, whatever. I don't know. It's hard to describe until you do it a whole bunch of times. You're reading the wood all the time, like How is this going to lay the best in the trough? Where should I cut it? Should I cut the back end? Should I cut the front end? Should I trim off a chunk of crap? Do I need, like this one here, I cut off the good side, and then there's going to be the bottom of the tree where the notch was cut out when we dropped the tree is going to be in the back side. So I'm taking some of these big ones up here. Trying not to smash my hands, which happens all the time. Yeah, and sometimes we'll just stop the elevator and we can grab a bunch of these and then we can rerun them. Which is what I should have done. I should have just stopped the elevator right away. But see how hard that is to throw up and in there? And a lot of people are telling us, why don't you guys just buck all your wood up on the ground and then throw them up in there to split them? Well, it's not practical. They're too heavy. It's too high. Even though it's a 40-ton ram and we could push stuff through pretty quick. If you had a team of people, like 5 or 6 guys, where 2 guys were feeding it constantly, yeah, then it would work. What's the point of having all those people just doing a job that one guy can do by himself? I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. He was trying to loosen that piece there, and I thought he was clear. I opened the door, and he was pretty close. So they're trying to get that chunk out of there. But you really got to watch your hands and where you are and what the other guy's doing and where he is. Like when you bend over like that, you gotta be real careful that no one's going to flip that eject door up and whack you in the head. That's hydraulic. I mean, you get hit by that, you're going down. So we got to be pretty careful. Yeah, we're just doing resplits on all these chunks here. So nothing real exciting. It's just trying to knock them down smaller because we got them right there and the machine's running. So we figured we could. Now we ran this load, and we ran. I gotta think here now. I think we ran 2 more loads this day, but you're only seeing this one load, and we're going to end it in a little while here, where you're seeing what we're doing, and then the rest of the other loads you're going to see over the next couple days, because we ran so long that I couldn't make a 6-hour video. I thought I cut this down quite a bit already. I think I started with about 3 hours of footage here, and I think I got this down to about 53 minutes or something like that, if I remember right. And that's always the hard thing, is how much do you cut out, how much do you leave? Because some people tell me, oh, why don't you just let the camera run? Well, because it can be awful boring at times when there's not much happening. And then there's other times where, you got action, but you never know when it's going to happen. So you try to let the camera run, but you try to show just the good stuff. I try to show the bad stuff. If we do something stupid, I try to show you guys. If there's something that happens that's exciting, I try to show you. But the mundane, repetitive stuff is kind of boring. Okay, that's enough of that. Look at that, a bunch of wood is in the trailer. It's more than full. And there's going to be a lot of resplits, because running that big monster wood like we've been doing, I mean, there's 24 inches we're running. This is a 22-inch bar, and we're not even able to cut through all the way. So Adam and Bert running the chainsaw, cutting some of these off, because we physically couldn't get through it with the bar that's on there. We knew they were too big, but figured, what the heck, let's see what she'll do. And it worked, but we just couldn't quite get all the way through. But we got them cut, and we got a load done there. So I'm going to take this out later, and we're going to dump it in back behind the bins, because we're going to have to do resplits on this, obviously. I mean, there's some stuff in here like this here is fine. This one's probably fine. This one will probably split in half. This one will probably knock down into 3 more pieces. Like this one right here. I mean, that's 3 pieces there for sure. This one's probably fine. So that big stuff, there is a lot of big chunks. We flipped a lot of them through to run again, but I mean, if you look at the side of this, I mean, it's boiler wood, but as you guys know, I don't sell boiler wood, I sell fireplace wood. So we got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's probably 5 pieces right here. So that'll have to be split down. Like this one here, that's fine, but even this one I'd split in half. That one's probably fine. Being that it's ash, it's already, a lot of it's pretty dry, because this stuff is from the summer. And so we just wanted to get working on it, because it's so sloppy out there. We really can't do anything else. Everything's melting and turning just a muck. So at least we got some of this stuff done. And the reason we started with this pile is it's right here. So we don't have to go way out there, around over here to get stuff. So we want to get this one done. This is the oldest. And so there you go. We're going to do some more tomorrow. Come on back. That's it for today, folks. You saw enough. It's enough excitement for one day. So come on back tomorrow. We're gonna run more wood, which is gonna be in about an hour. I'm gonna go get some lunch. Adam went to take care of some stuff. Tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. We're gonna run some more stuff. Come on back. Good night, everyone.